I've sold hundreds of side-by-sides with cab enclosures, and it all boils down to this. The budget in which you have determines the experience in which you'll get. So not only will I go over the Super ATV build that we did and give an honest review of this, I'm also gonna compare this to some other options, whether that be OEM or some other aftermarket brand, with pricing. Well, let's get straight to the point. Likes, dislikes. I like that this is clear. You can see through absolutely everything. I like the variability and the options that Super AT gives you. Like, we got a flip out windshield in this case. And I like that everything, which I'll mention in the dislikes, that everything seals really tight on this unit. And it heats up plenty well enough for everything you will need it to do. Now, what you're hoping for when you get a hard enclosure is you want this automotive type feel. I feel like you get that with Super ATV. And then lastly, they're giving you so many options in these hard doors. You can open and close this window. You can actually remove this entire top piece and just have half doors when you are in the summertime. But there's definitely things I didn't like as we installed these doors. First of all, you're gonna notice when I open this door, we had to put a foam inlay in here to get this to seal tight. When you close this, you saw a fairly large gap in here otherwise. Now, they make a lot of adjustment points on this door, and we played with it for a really long time and then finally got to the point where we said, this is the absolute best we can come up with. And there were some large gaps that we were left over with, and I had a really bad taste in my mouth for a minute. Now, I also left a link in the description on these foam inlays, 10, 20 bucks putting foam in this part. And that is gonna be specific to this model. We have a 1000 XP Crew in the Polaris. Their back doors sit really flat and you got a nice flush finish. Really easy to open and close. The fronts have somewhat of a curvature to it. And if you look at when you close this, it hits down at the bottom, it hits at the top, and it has more of a gap in here. I think that they should have a little bit less curl in the door. So that's gonna be a little more specific to this model. So that was a little bit of a letdown for me as we put these on. So then when we get to the heater install, again, my only disappointment is you've only got 2 vents here. Now you can flip this windshield up and look at the front vent. Now you get a nice defroster up here. I like that. Now, if you look at some other possible options outside of that Super ATV heater, I think you can probably get more vents on there. Kind of hit or miss thing. I'd like more vents, but ultimately, when you get everything sealed in really tight on here, it honestly does plenty well. You got to get that thermostat up to temperature and you're cooking pretty warm on the inside. So you're probably wondering, how much is that build going to cost you? If you go with what we just talked about, the Super ATV build, all in on this build, you're looking at $4,919. Now, how does that break down? The doors, $36.99, back windshield, $299, flip out windshield, $519, heater, $399. And that number is before tax. $5,000, you know, that's a lot of money for this setup, for little details that you got to fix, those nooks and crannies like I mentioned, right? Well, what is it going to look like if you go to OEM? Well, I called a Polaris dealer, I got all the OEM pricing. When I think of OEM, I'm wanting to go absolutely premium. I've sold plenty of those that have that OEM finish, and it feels so automotive when you close those doors and you've got the glass everywhere, and it's premium. There's nothing better, right, than the OEM absolute perfect fit. But how much is that actually going to cost you? OEM actually has a clear view door as well, okay? So I got a price on a clear view door, $25.99 for the back doors, $25.99 for the front doors. So indoors, you're looking at the same cost as everything all the way around is what we just talked about. The powered doors are $39.99 for the back doors, $39.99 for the front doors. And then go into the back, the OEM back glass windshield, $519. The OEM front flip out glass windshield, $13.99. And lastly, $12.99 for an 8-vent heater. Super ATV only had 3 vents. For 8 vents, $12.99. You add all that up. If you chose the crank window options, you're all in at $8,400. If you chose the powered windows, you'd be all in at $11,215. So clearly, there's some cost savings if you chose that Super ATV option, but there are other products out there you can get aftermarket as well. One being ArmorTech full steel doors. So you're gonna have that clear door of Super ATV, which I personally tend to like a little bit more, but the steel door probably, I haven't seen it, but I can imagine it might feel a little more automotive in feel, but you're gonna lose some of that visibility. Those doors alone are gonna cost you $42.99. The Super ATV doors, again, were $36.99. So I didn't go around and do a full build for all the other aftermarkets, because the reality is the really expensive piece is gonna be those doors. So I kind of wanted to hone in on the cost of the doors alone, because there's so many aftermarket options, this being a premium option if you got that flip out windshield, okay? But what other door options are out there? I went over all of the best options on the market if you went with the hard cab doors. So ArmorTech also offers somewhat of a convertible type door where they have a hard bottom and a soft top option. That is significantly cheaper at $2,099. And again, if you want to save yet a little bit more money, Seizmik has what they call framed doors. You're gonna have a hard frame on the back and then you're gonna have more of a canvas outside. That would cost you $1,949. And as for that last option, you can get soft doors. Super ATV also makes a soft door option, and that's gonna run you $759, which is way more affordable. Actually has some pretty decent reviews as well if you are on a budget. Here's the reality. Everybody has a different budget. If you want the best experience, spend the $11,000. If you don't have that budget, get soft doors. Would I personally recommend doing that? Probably not. I don't think it's going to be worth even spending any kind of money on the soft doors. I've seen them all, and I just don't think they're good enough. I personally, if you want to go to the Seizmik level, that's gonna be okay. You're gonna have a little bit of gaps coming through if you're all right with that. If you're on the budget rate, I totally understand that. I would say at least go to the ArmorTech level, go to the Super ATV level or OEM if you want a really good experience that you possibly aren't gonna regret. Did you like that build? That exact Polaris sold before we were even done with this video, but we get side-by-sides in all the time. Take a couple new Polaris Rangers right here. We do lots of different things. We get them bone stock, we add some things. So like take one like this, right? This has a windshield, the Super ATV clear roof on it, winch and plow. This exact one out the door is $22,790, so it's 1,000 XP. But maybe you want the 1,000 XP crew like we've got right here. This one's bone stock, you're gonna be more around that $21,000 price point, or you can go with the build like we had on that used one featured in this video, and you're gonna be more around a price point of $28,000. It's definitely gonna beat that North Star by about $10,000. Sure, you're gonna lose AC and some of those OEM components, but it will come with a plow and be at a way better price point. So we'd love to serve you if you're somewhere, anywhere in the United States. We've done deliveries as far as California. We can definitely help you out with your custom build. If you so desire to work with Howe equipment, we'd love to work with you.